Have you ever felt like life is testing your very will to survive? Like every step forward is met with two steps back? Meet Chuka, a man who could have given up at any moment. From living in a broken car, with nothing but his broken dreams and the crushing weight of rejection, to standing tall as a successful businessman, this is a story of survival, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of hope against all odds. Life didn't just throw challenges at Chuka, it hunted him down, cornered him, and mocked his every move. His past? Filled with pain, betrayal, and humiliation. His future? Uncertain, but burning with determination. But through every tear, every failure, and every heart-wrenching moment, Chuka learned the one thing no one can take away from him, that even in the darkest hours, there's always a chance to rise again. Get ready for a journey that will test your limits, tear at your heart, and remind you that no matter how low you fall, there's always a way back to the top. Chuka wiped the sweat from his forehead as he leaned against his old 2004 Toyota Corolla, parked under the hot Lagos sun. The heat was unbearable, making the car's metal almost too hot to touch. His white shirt, once clean, was now a dirty shade of gray and stuck to his sweaty back. The strong smell of engine oil, dust, and frustration filled the air. He glanced at his cracked phone screen. The Uber app blinked weakly. 0 new rides. Another day, another battle, he whispered to himself, voice dry. Bills were waiting. Landlord had warned him twice already. And Amara, the woman he had sacrificed everything for, was growing tired. That morning, she had spat words at him sharper than a knife. You are dragging me down, Chuka. You're the reason I'm suffering. He had begged her, pleaded with her to stay patient, to believe in him. But faith is a luxury only people with full stomachs can afford. Chuka was an orphan. His parents had died when he was just a boy. His big uncles and aunties were alive, and they were well off, 2 big houses, flashy cars. But Chuka, stubborn in spirit, had made up his mind early. He would never disturb them for help. He wanted to make it on his own. No begging. That afternoon, by sheer luck, a ride request popped up. It was from Jide, an old friend from secondary school. Hope flickered. Maybe today would be better. He rushed to the pickup location. Jide jumped into the back seat, laughing loudly. Guy. Chuka. See as you don't turn Uber driver oh. He slapped Chuka's shoulder hard, laughing like he just heard a good joke. Chuka forced a weak smile. His heart tightened. As they drove, Jide called another friend loudly on the phone. Bro, go believe who I see. Chuka oh. Uber driver. Life hard oh. The shame hit Chuka deep in the chest, but he said nothing. At the destination, Jide tossed 2 crumpled 1,000 Nigerian Nairas note on the passenger seat like trash and walked away, still laughing. Chuka sat there, humiliated. Tears blurred his eyes. Not only was he losing money, he was losing his dignity. The days that followed were no kinder. Some nights, he would sleep inside the car, engine off, windows cracked open just a bit to let air in. He could hear the loud buzzing of mosquitoes, the smell of gutter water filling his nose. Still, he endured. Friday nights were especially brutal, heavy traffic, drunk customers, angry police roadblocks. One Friday night, after dropping a customer off in Lekki Phase 1, 2 rough-looking men tried to rob him at a stoplight. Chuka's heart raced. He hit the accelerator without thinking, tires screeching. Miraculously, he escaped. But the fear stayed long after. At bus stops, last-mile officers, road safety men, would sometimes pull him over for no reason. One afternoon at Ojota, they waved him down. Where your papers? One officer barked. Chuka showed them everything: driver's license, car papers, insurance. Still, they shook their heads. They wanted a bribe. Chuka sighed, sliding a folded 1,000 Nigerian Nairas note into the officer's pocket when no one was looking. Next time be careful, the man warned, waving him off. Chuka drove away feeling like a criminal, even though all he wanted was to survive. Amara's patience finally snapped. One Sunday evening, after Chuka came home tired and sweaty, he found her sitting on their worn-out mattress with another man. The man was dressed in gold chains, flashy sneakers, smelling like expensive perfume. Chuka's heart stopped. "Amara, who is this?" he asked, voice trembling. She didn't even look ashamed. "Someone who can take care of me," she said coldly. The man smirked and threw 1,000 Nigerian nairas note on the floor like trash. "For your troubles," he sneered. Chuka's fists balled tightly. But he knew better than to start a fight. With shame burning his skin, he turned and walked out. That night, he slept inside his broken car, parked under a leaking roof. Rain poured heavily. Water slipped through his unclosed window, soaking him almost completely. Chuka curled up, shivering, wishing he could disappear. Days passed in a blur of misery. The Uber rides dried up. The car began making terrible noises, gearbox problems, alignment issues. One night, after driving back-to-back rides for almost 15 hours without eating, Chuka collapsed at the wheel. The car swerved into a roadside gutter. Luckily, no one was hurt. But the car was badly damaged. Towing it back to a mechanic yard cost almost everything he had left. The mechanic shook his head. "Your gearbox don't die. Nah, serious money you go need." Chuka didn't even have money for Gary. He dragged himself home, only to find that Amara had thrown his few clothes outside. "You are a curse," she shouted from inside. He slept that night under the broken staircase of the building, mosquitoes biting him bloody. When he closed his eyes, he prayed not to wake up. The next morning, with an empty stomach and no strength left, Chuka went a buka spot where he normally eats to ask for food on credit, but the woman refused and shouted at him. "I know they sell food for credit, come back tomorrow big fool," she said. Neighbors around laughed at him. Chuka the failure. Chuka the beggar. Still, he swallowed his pride. At noon, miraculously, a single ride request popped up on his phone. He borrowed a jump starter from a neighbor, prayed hard, and managed to spark his old 2004 model Corolla back to life. The pickup location? A giant mansion in Ikoyi. Chuka drove there, scared the car would break down before he arrived. Outside the mansion stood a tall, calm man dressed in a simple agbada. Without a word, the man entered the car. As they drove over Third Mainland Bridge, the man finally spoke. "Why haven't you given up yet?" he asked. Chuka gave a bitter laugh. "If I stop, I die, sir." The man smiled sadly. "I like that spirit." When they reached the destination, the man handed Chuka a business card. Daramola Holdings. Chief Olusegun Daramola. "Come tomorrow," he said simply, and left. Chuka stared at the card for hours, hands shaking. Was it real? He almost didn't go. But when Amara came out that night and spat on his face, telling him to go and die somewhere, he knew he had nothing left to lose. At dawn, Chuka walked miles to Victoria Island. Security guards almost threw him out until Chief Daramola appeared and said, "Let him in." Chief Daramola didn't offer pity. He offered work. Real, honest, back-breaking work. "You will start from the bottom," Chief said. "No favors." Chuka nodded eagerly. He started as a warehouse cleaner, sweeping, carrying heavy goods, arranging deliveries. He worked harder than anyone. He came early, left late. He ate plain rice and beans every day. He lived in a tiny boys' quarters, sleeping with rats and leaking roofs. But he was free. He was finally moving forward. On weekends, he still drove Uber part-time using a borrowed car. Night rides continued to be dangerous, rough passengers, near robberies, desperate police officers wanting bribes. But Chuka had grown wise. He moved carefully. One Sunday night, a fake passenger tried to hijack his car at CMS. By God's grace, Chuka escaped by swerving into a police checkpoint. Slowly, day by day, he rose. Warehouse runner. Logistics assistant. Then logistics manager. Chief Daramola personally mentored him, teaching him about transport business, spreadsheets, customer relations. By his second year, Chuka was traveling to Ghana, Kenya, even Dubai, to inspect warehouses. Meanwhile, Amara's world collapsed. The flashy men abandoned her. Debts piled up. One rainy afternoon, she showed up outside Daramola Holdings, barefoot, carrying a sick baby. "Chuka, please, help me," she cried, kneeling on the hot pavement. Chuka looked at her, and for a moment, he remembered everything. The betrayals, the nights he cried, the times he almost died. Still, he helped. He paid for the child's hospital bills. But when Amara begged for another chance, he shook his head gently. "Forgiveness doesn't always mean returning," he said softly. Chuka moved on. He met Kosi, a woman who also knew what hardship tasted like. Together, they built something beautiful from scratch. No pretense, no betrayal. Just real love. Years later, Chuka stood on stage at a business conference as the regional director of Daramola Holdings. Thousands of people listened as he told his story, from sleeping in a broken car to standing there, a symbol of hope. When he finished speaking, the entire hall rose to their feet, clapping, crying. Chuka smiled humbly, tears filling his eyes. Not because he was rich now, but because life had tried to kill him and failed. Chuka's story isn't just about survival, it's about turning every setback into fuel for success. If you're ready to rise above your challenges, fight for what you deserve, and never back down, then you don't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe, hit that bell icon, and join us on this journey of relentless perseverance. Let Chuka's story ignite a fire in you that can't be extinguished. Trust me, you won't regret it. This is just the beginning of something legendary.